This is our last meal in America.
In response to my husband's words, the mother-in-law replied happily.
I'm looking forward to living overseas with the three of us.
I was faced with an unbelievable sight at a family restaurant where I happened to come with my son and heard a story that I didn't want to believe. A woman who was her husband's childhood friend also was there. At first, I was surprised, but after hearing the stories of the three of them, I understood everything. I can never forgive this, I swore revenge. My name is Valentina, and I am 37 years old. I live with my husband Nicholas, who is 4 years older than me, and my 4-year-old son Cooper. From the outside, I think we look like a very ordinary and happy family. However, there has always been something that has bothered me since before we got married. That is about my husband's mother, Gabriella, my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law frequently talks to me about a woman named Nova, who is my husband's ex-girlfriend. Nova is my husband's childhood friend, and she visits her parents' house without contacting them because they are so close. Recently, when I went to my parents-in-law's house, my mother-in-law told me this story.
The other day, Nova came to visit me. I've been alone since my husband passed away, so I'm really happy.
I returned her smile with a smile as she talked to me with a big grin on her face.
She brought this dress with her at that time. It's better for old people to wear bright and elegant clothes like this than plain clothes.
The dress my mother-in-law was talking about was the one I gave her as a birthday present. I'm angry that she said that even though we went shopping together and bought it. After that, every time I saw her, I was told that Nova did this or that for her, that Nova was thoughtful. My mother-in-law praised her. I was tired of hearing it, so I talked to my husband once. Nicholas, can you tell your mother to stop talking about Nova? I'm your wife, my husband replied with his arms crossed.
I've known Nova for a long time. My mother thinks of her as a real daughter. She's married to a doctor now and is happy, so there won't be any trouble between me and her. Anyway, I'll tell my mother.
After that, my husband seemed to have talked to my mother-in-law, and the topic of Nova decreased a little. He told me that there would be nothing between Nova and him in the future, and that he had warned his mother. So, for now, I decided to trust my husband. Besides, our daily life as a family of 3 is happy, and Nova's name didn't come up except when we're at my parents-in-law's house. On a certain holiday, we were planning to go to an amusement park with our family of 3. My son was very excited, and I was happy to see him like that. Then, my husband came back from the phone in the morning and said,
I just got a call from my mother. It seems that she and Nova are going out to eat today. I was invited too, so I'm going.
What? Of course, you mean you're going after we go out together, right?
No, she wants me to go shopping with them in the morning.
My husband continued talking as if it were natural, without paying any attention to my surprise.
So, I'm sorry, but please go with Cooper today. Cooper is not a baby anymore, and he doesn't need much attention, right? We need someone to carry the shopping bags for my mother and Nova, and I can't leave them alone.
After that, he didn't listen to me no matter what I said.
You can go out with your family anytime. Nova only comes back occasionally, so my mother is looking forward to going out to eat with the 3 of us.
My husband stubbornly said that and left me and my depressed son behind to protest. I can't forget the sad face of my son at that time. In the end, I went out with my son alone that day. When we arrived at the site, he seemed to be having fun playing like a child, but
it would have been more fun if Dad was here too.
My son said that, and my heart was squeezed by his forced smile. And from then on, things like this happened many times. Recently, Nova has been coming back frequently. She didn't originally marry far away, but even so, the frequency is too high for someone who has a family. I don't want to interfere with Nova's situation, but she's been coming back quite often lately, hasn't she? If so, she and my mother-in-law will be able to go anytime, and I want them to prioritize their business with me and Cooper. When I said that to my husband, he suddenly became unhappy.
Ha! What? I'm not allowed to play with my childhood friend or mother occasionally? You don't complain about company drinking parties. Why? This married life is too cramped and impossible.
My husband's eyes looking at me seemed really annoying.
Don't interfere with my relationship with my childhood friend.
No matter what I said, he didn't seem to care. And then, when I started protesting like this, I began to be told by my mother-in-law when I went to my parents-in-law's house.
Valentina, Nicholas seems to be complaining about going out to eat with us.
If I was told that by my mother-in-law, I had no choice but to listen quietly.
Nova is like a real daughter to me. What's wrong with Nicholas valuing his family? And it's not just cheating, it's embarrassing to complain even about a simple meal.
I was told such sarcastic things. And if I complained too much, my husband began to ignore me. Not only me, but he also ignored my son.
Dad, look at this. I drew a picture of Mom and Dad.
My son showed me the drawing paper with a very happy look, but my husband was completely unresponsive. He didn't even look at the picture and went straight to his room. Cooper, Dad seems to be feeling a little sick today. Show it to Mom. Wow. You're so good. I tried to encourage my son, who was left with a sad face. However, if I didn't complain, my husband would always be a kind father as usual. My son also plays happily with my husband. I can't make Cooper feel lonely. I think eating with my mother-in-law in Nova is the same as a company drinking party, so I have to endure it. I told myself this way and decided to suppress my anxiety and spend my time. As such a life continued, my husband reported that he had been offered a business trip abroad, which had never happened before.
I've never been asked to go on a business trip abroad before. I guess the company finally recognized my work.
He was talking excitedly, so I said, "That's good." And I helped him prepare for his business trip. And on the day before he left for his business trip, he said he was going to his parents' house because he wouldn't be back for a while, and he left around evening. I wonder if he doesn't feel like staying with Cooper because he won't be back for a while. I felt dissatisfied in my heart, but I didn't say anything and saw him off. After my husband left, I decided to go to a family restaurant with my son, since it was a rare opportunity to have dinner with just the two of us. And there, I saw a surprising sight. As soon as I entered the family restaurant, I saw my husband, who was supposed to have gone to his parents' house, sitting with his mother-in-law and Nova. I had a bad feeling, so I sat in a seat that was out of their sight and decided to listen to their conversation. Let's talk a little quieter than usual today. I felt sorry, but I said that to my son, and he nodded obediently.
This is the last meal in America, huh?
I heard my husband's voice, so I quietly listened.
I wish we could have eaten at a better place.
Nova replied in a sweet voice, and my mother-in-law smiled and said,
We can live abroad for a while, so it's not bad, is it?
3 of them living abroad. What does that mean? I didn't understand at first, but as I listened to the conversation, I realized what was going on. My husband had indeed been cheating on me with Nova since the time he started acting strange. My husband had hoped to get back together with Nova after they broke up, but he also seemed to have the expectation that they would be able to date again someday without rushing. But then something unexpected happened for my husband. Nova got married. So my husband gave up on Nova and got married himself, but recently he found out that Nova was not getting along well with her husband.
I thought I was a winner when I married a doctor. But he's just serious and has no fun. I feel like I'm just continuing my marriage for the money.
That's what Nova said in the conversation I heard at the family restaurant. She confided in my husband that her marriage was not going well, and they rekindled their feelings for each other. And my mother-in-law was overjoyed that their relationship was back on track. But if they were having an affair, both my husband and Nova would have to pay alimony. To avoid that, they came up with this plan to flee abroad. My husband had already quit his job, and my mother-in-law had sold her house. They were planning to flee abroad and hide their whereabouts for more than 3 years.
If we're missing for 3 years, I think both of your partners will take care of the divorce proceedings themselves. So let's just endure for 3 years, and then we'll see what happens.
My mother-in-law said with a smile.
If the divorce is finalized, we can come back to America or stay in a foreign country.
The two of them nodded and listened.
I brought as much money as I could for my husband, so I think we'll be fine for a while. Maybe we can get into the import business once we get there and settle down.
Nova's voice was loud enough that she didn't seem to care if anyone was listening. I'm not going to let these people do as they please. I swore revenge in my heart, feeling a burning anger. The next day, after sending my son to kindergarten, I headed to the airport. When I arrived at the airport lobby, I saw my husband, mother-in-law, and Nova arguing with each other.
What do you mean?
Nova was about to grab my husband and interrogated him.
I didn't cancel anything. What's going on?
My husband was also very confused. Actually, my husband had booked today's flight with my credit card. If I checked the card history, I would easily find out which country he had fled to. So my husband had bought a flight to France first, and then planned to move to somewhere nearby like Italy. Thanks to my husband who foolishly used my card to pay for the flight he didn't want to pay for, the cancellation process was surprisingly smooth. However, if I hadn't met the 3 of them by chance at the family restaurant and heard their conversation, I would have been late to notice this fact. It was really terrible. I appeared in front of the 3 of them who were still making a fuss. They froze when they saw me. It was natural, since I wasn't supposed to be here.
Why are you here?
My husband asked me with a pale face. I know everything about your plan. I told them everything that happened yesterday. Just in case, I also recorded your conversation on my phone. Please divorce me right now.
What? How arrogant. Nicholas chose me because you weren't enough for him. It's a wish come true that you're asking for a divorce.
Even though I handed the divorce papers to my husband, Nova came out in front of me.
We were actually planning to go abroad without paying alimony, but now that this has happened, I'll pay you. Nicholas. Write the divorce papers right now.
Nova said that and forced my husband to write the divorce papers. And then, she shoved the filled-out divorce papers at me.
Okay. Are you satisfied? You lost as a woman and you're obsessed with money. You're really the worst woman.
Nova spat at me with a triumphant face. But I answered calmly. You can say whatever you want. We have a life too. Rather, I was worried that it might be hard to make him write the divorce papers, so I'm grateful. I returned with a smile as if to say thank you. And Nova, I also sent the audio data I recorded yesterday to your husband.
What? Is that true?
Of course it is. I wonder why you think you can stay without anything happening to you. My words made Nova freeze and her nasty smile disappeared. Your husband has been noticing your affair and collecting evidence for a while. He got a picture of you entering the hotel, but he couldn't identify the other person. I solved it by talking to him, so I'm going to get the evidence pictures too. Hearing that, my husband and Nova collapsed on the spot.
No way, I thought I could get away with it with just yesterday's conversation.
Life is not that sweet, you know. I smiled at Nova's muttering. And, your husband is arriving here soon, so please discuss the rest with him. I'm really glad that we signed a notarized document that says no property division if there is adultery when we got married. That's what your husband said. Nova was even more depressed. And then, I also greeted my mother-in-law who had been glaring at me all the time. Thank you very much for everything. I don't know what will happen from now on, but since you seem to love Nova like a real daughter, please support her until the end. I wish you, your son, and Nova happiness from now on. Seeing my smiling face, my mother-in-law looked stunned. And then, leaving behind the three people who dropped their shoulders, I left the place. The rest of the story is as follows. Of course, the divorce between me and my ex-husband was finalized, and I was able to claim compensation. Nova's husband also divorced and was able to claim compensation safely. My ex-mother-in-law, who had tried to move overseas, had left her parents' house, which was rented, and had run out of money because she had sent her luggage by sea freight without having any savings. My ex-husband had resigned from his company and was looking for a new job. However, he could not find a company that would hire a 40-year-old man with no qualifications or career. Nova said that she wanted to live with my ex-husband and his mother, but they had no money, so she had no choice but to go back to her parents' house. My ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law are currently working part-time jobs while looking for a job, and they are living a life of moving from one internet cafe to another. And all this information is from what I heard from my ex-mother-in-law. After a while, she called me and said,
Please forgive me somehow.
But of course, I refused. The three people who tried to trap me all met a miserable end. And I moved to a new apartment with my son. With the help of my parents, I live a relaxed life.
I don't have to worry about being ignored by Dad if something happens. I'm happy.
I was surprised when my son said that. Indeed, the previous life was hard for my son too. From now on, I decided to cherish my son more, to make up for the pain I caused him. First of all, I'm going to go to an amusement park soon, because I made him have a sad memory before. This time, I'll invite my parents too, bring a lunchbox, and make it a fun memory.
I'm looking forward to it.
With this smile of my son, I will continue to live peacefully from now on. It was a terrible ex-mother-in-law, ex-husband, and lover who planned to escape overseas without telling her about their affair. I'm really glad that Valentina noticed it at the last minute and was able to stop it. But, I thought her ex-husband was really creepy. Even though he got married and had a child, he still had feelings for the person he used to like, and he insisted that she was his childhood friend, and above all, he ignored his son, which was really childish, and I hated such a father. I'm glad she got him to write the divorce papers smoothly and cut off the relationship. Her son also realized that his father was making his mother and himself sad. I realized that children watch their parents closely. I hope Valentina and her son will have more fun memories from now on. How did you like this story? Please also subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. This low-educated, useless person as a mother-in-law is a shame. Cut off the relationship.
That's fine with me. But are you sure? My daughter-in-law turned pale when she found out who I really was. That's water under the bridge now. When I was 17 years old, my mother and I came to Japan. My father and brother stayed in America and started living separate lives, but it wasn't because they had a bad relationship or anything like that. My parents probably wanted me to have various experiences. So my father and brother stayed in America where the company was located, while my mother and I came to Japan and lived with my mother's parents. When I graduated from high school, my mother asked me what I wanted to do. Mom is going back to the US, but you decide what you want to do. I chose to stay in Japan for a while longer because I wanted to know a bit more about Japan, my mother's home country, while my mother's family took care of me. So my mother went back to America, where my father was waiting for her, and my brother went to university in America and married someone he met there. I went to a university in Japan but chose one that was close to home as the first priority. Since I had been in America until I was 17 years old, I didn't really understand the names of universities in Japan at that time, and since I had been raised with the attitude of learning proactively, I didn't care about the name of the university. Because I grew up overseas and my mother was also enthusiastic about education, I could speak 4 languages before entering university. After graduating from university, I worked at my father's company's Japanese branch and am now the vice president. When I say vice president, it was only a title at this age. I leave the site work to young employees to develop them into strong global human resources. At the age of 28, I married my current husband, whom I met on a trip. We have been blessed with children and have been living happily ever since. We have 2 children. This spring, our eldest son Simon got married to Nancy, whom he met through work. He is a kind child, but he is too kind, or rather, indecisive. It seems that he decided to get married through the women proposal from his partner.
I graduated from Tokyo University, so even after marriage or childbirth, I will continue to work hard. If we have children, I will ask him to take childcare leave.
My husband and I were surprised when she said such things unexpectedly at our first meeting. Since you are going to be a couple, you will have to discuss things together. We will also support you in a way we can.
Yes. By the way, may I ask about your educational background?
My husband and I looked at each other. Well, my husband went to Keio University, and I went to M University.
M University.
She exaggeratedly exclaimed.
Keio University, where my father-in-law went, is one of the top private universities, so it's okay. You graduated from M University.
I still remember her face looking like she had heard some sad news.
Everyone in our family, including my parents and siblings, went either to Tokyo University, or Kyoto University, or top private universities.
She declared powerfully, even though no one asked her anything. Awesome, everyone is admirable. I replied while being overwhelmed. After that, our son's family started living in an apartment right next to ours.
We are busy, so we want you to take care of our house when something happens.
Well, that's fine. But it's not just when something happens. She tries to make me do most of the housework. That must be why they decided to live nearby.
Please take the laundry in and fold them up. I'll be late today, so I'll have dinner there. Please prepare it. Thank you.
I receive such emails frequently. At first, she was polite on the phone.
I'm sorry, but could you do that today because I'm busy?
So I gladly accepted it, but gradually the emails started to change from phone calls to emails. Then eventually even emails became commanding. It went from twice a week to 3 times a week and now almost every day. Oh dear. What should I do? It can't go on like this forever. I thought to myself, but I just sort of let it flow, and every day passed. One day, I received a call from my people on my mobile phone, asking me to come to the office immediately. He said there was a problem with the building project that was underway. When I rushed to the office, I found that a serious situation had arisen. We've lost contact with a subcontractor who was contracted to procure the material. The materials for the building construction project haven't been delivered and they could not get hold of them, which made it impossible to start the construction. It's because of the delay caused by the carrier, so please wait a little longer, but now they don't even answer the phone. Besides, the materials are not available in Japan and have to be imported from overseas. It will cause significant damage both in terms of schedule and cost if we don't receive the additional ordered materials smoothly. Everyone stopped to work, and the project team gathered, and annual schedules and material lists were distributed. I and the team leaders found common materials being used and assigned priority to the buildings to be constructed. We have been in contact with a head office in America and have managed to work out a way to meet the schedule. However, we still have to be on our toes because if we don't receive the additional materials ordered without delay, we won't be able to start construction on the projects that lie behind us. Normally, this work is the role of the subcontractor, but if we can't even get in touch with them, we have no choice. Our priority is to carry on with the work for the client, so we managed to deal with it at our company first. I finally returned home when things had settled down for the moment. I lay down on my bed exhausted from working full energy for the first time in a long time. But what about this subcontractor? I have to investigate it later. The next day, I received another email from my daughter-in-law. I have a lot of work piled up, so I'll need you to do the laundry and clean up. And dinner too. Perhaps because I was still tired from yesterday, I was even more fed up than usual. I couldn't let it go on like this for a good long while. I said this to my daughter-in-law who came to eat dinner. Look, Nancy, please stop asking me to do housework and dinner every day.
Why not?
My daughter-in-law looked as if she had been told something unexpected. Why not? I have my own house to take care of. You two have to work together as a couple.
But you have nothing to do all day long. I'm busy every day. You don't know how much work I, a Tokyo University graduate, have.
If you put it like that, doesn't everyone with a degree from Tokyo University do housework? It's not just about spending time at work, it's better to do it efficiently.
What?
Perhaps what I said got on her nerves, but she made a scary face and glared at me.
I don't want someone from the University of M to talk to me like that. I can't believe that the University of M has a say in the University of Tokyo.
My daughter-in-law talks like this at every opportunity. Her attitude changed clearly when she heard that I graduated from M University. Of course, I now know that Tokyo University is the top university in Japan. It must take considerable effort to get in there, and it's great to study hard and achieve results. However, I believe that academic background is not the same as being able to work. And what is most important is human nature. But she divides people according to whether they are from Tokyo University or not. Tokyo University is certainly admirable, but I don't think that being an M University graduate is so demeaning. There are so many people who graduated from M University besides me. Don't you think it's rude to talk like that? I asked her what I had been wondering normally. There are many people who are great at their job regardless of their academic background, and I've seen a lot of people in my father's company, who graduated from high school, vocational school, increase their annual income steadily.
Regardless of whether it's rude or not, Japan is a society that values academic background. People without academic backgrounds are useless. There are no M University graduates in my company, even in my extended family.
My words didn't seem to resonate with my daughter-in-law at all.
Don't you think it's the duty of people who are not smart to assist smart people so that they can make a significant contribution? If you do things around the house, it makes me more productive, so you can be useful.
Do you talk like that at work, too? Change that way of thinking. You'll lose popularity.
Haha, it's funny, I'm a Tokyo University graduate and I'm being lectured by an M University graduate.
Just as I was about to stand up unexpectedly, her mobile phone rang.
Yes, it's me. Oh, about that, never comply yet. No, of course not. What will they say if they find out? I'm in charge of the case, just wait and see.
Saying that, she hung up the phone. From your work? You sounded uncomfortable, like if they found out or something, but are you in some kind of trouble? Are you okay? I could easily imagine that she was having a problem, and I was worried, so I asked her. Even though it doesn't look like it, I've been working for decades too. If you're in trouble, please talk to me, I might be able to help you with something.
Don't look down on me, it's none of your business, and you don't have the brains of the University of M to handle it.
She interrupted the words of someone who was worried and gave me such insults. I got angry more and more, then decided not to say anything more.
Well then, I'm off now. I have to go back to the office again. Oh, please make dinner tomorrow too.
What? Without even saying thank you for the meal, she stood up and left with her mobile phone and bag in a hurry. What do you think of her behavior? I can't stand it anymore. Shall I tell you how much work I've done? When I complained angrily to my husband, he, who is usually a person of few words, replied calmly.
Absolutely, her attitude has been terrible lately. But we don't have to go down to her level. It's better to keep your background a secret. Why don't you talk to your son once?
Well, with a sigh, I was about to put her dishes away when I didn't notice a document case at my feet. I kicked it away. A clear file popped out, and some papers fell out. Oh, she must have forgotten them in a hurry. As I picked them up, I took a casual glance at one of them and saw that it said, hubby&MIL Shopping Mall Construction Plan. This is. I was stunned by what I saw. I immediately made a copy of the document on my printer at home and, just to be safe, I also took a picture of it with my smartphone. I then put the paper back in the clear file and let my thoughts wander, managing to keep my head calm as it almost boiled over with anger. I then contacted my son to come to our house alone. The next day, she contacted me early in the morning.
Are there any of my work documents over there?
She said it really angrily without even saying hello. Oh yeah, something seems to have been forgotten.
That's an important document. Don't touch it. I'll pick it up today. Oh yeah, please make dinner for me and also do the cleaning and laundry.
She told me what to do without hesitation again today and hung up the phone. She probably thinks that people less educated than herself are housekeepers. I am once again reminded that education really has nothing to do with human qualities. As soon as she came up to the house holding a case with documents and shouted at me.
Hey! You haven't done anything like cleaning or laundry. I just stopped by our house on my way here.
That's because you haven't done it.
What? I asked you to do it, didn't I?
It wasn't the way you ask someone for something.
Stop quibbling. Why haven't you done it?
Which one of us is a quibbler? Why do I have to do housework for you every day?
Because I'm busy at work.
Everyone works together to balance work and family. My husband and I were very busy when we were young too, but we worked together.
Your job was just making tea, making photocopies or things like that, because you're from University. I'm a Tokyo University graduate, the level of work I do is different.
Looking at what you do and say, I don't think you are very good at your job. I decided that I would not shut my mouth up today and do what she said, so I honestly told her what I was thinking. Her eyes were even more glazed over.
I can't stand it anymore. How dare someone with a low academic background speak like that? Besides, if you don't do housework, what good are you?
That's a terrible thing to say.
It's a disgrace to have such an uneducated, useless person as a mother-in-law. I'll have you disowned.
Disowned?
Yes, I'll make a clean break with you.
I don't mind. I'd rather be happy too.
What?
Perhaps my reply was unexpected, but she looked confused for a moment. I'm fine with that, but are you sure? I said it without losing my smile.
What are you talking about? Rather, I'm glad to get rid of you. You're the one who gets into trouble, being dumped by your daughter-in-law, who graduated from Tokyo University.
She said it and glared at me. I held out a piece of paper to her, who glared at me for saying that.
What the heck is this piece of paper?
Her voice got quieter before she could say it all. The paper in my hand says hubby&MIL Shopping Mall Construction Plan.
Why do you have this?
I picked it up when it fell out of your case yesterday. I just had a little glance at that time.
Don't look at it without permission. You don't know how important this document is.
Yes, it's important, isn't it? It's also an important document for our company.
What?
Do you know how much trouble our company is going through right now? We'll look into it when things calm down.
What the heck are you talking about?
Let's make it clear one by one to her, who looks at me with shifty eyes, still unable to grasp the situation. These are the documents for the conclusion of the joint construction project, right? Between your employer and my company's manufacturer.
What?
Look, at the top, it says Moana Group Japan. I'm the vice president there. I gave her a broad smile.
What?
She tried to talk back to me with sweat on her forehead.
How can you tell such a lie? The headquarters of this company are in America. You're an M University graduate, so you can't be the vice president of such a big company.
Of course I know that. The president of the American headquarters is my brother.
What?
You judge people by their education, by the name of their university, and you don't even bother to know the rest.
What?
I grew up in America until I was 17 years old. I can speak not only English, but Spanish and French, of course.
What?
I have a first-grade English proficiency test certificate. I got a perfect score on TOEIC, but what's your score?
What? Ugh, it's a lie. I can't believe you have a perfect TOEIC score.
If you don't believe me, shall I show you my certificate?
What?
Her face turned pale as she began to sense the credibility of the story. I went to M University because it was close to my grandmother's house where I lived. I had just returned to Japan and was not familiar with Japanese universities or in particular with university names.
No way.
In America, I was aiming for Harvard University. My teacher said that I was within the range of acceptance.
Harvard.
Since she keeps repeating Tokyo University, she must know the name and level of Harvard University as well. Unlike you, I don't want to brag about myself. Now, let's get back to the point. I glared sharply at her, who was now pale. That was your company that blamed the shipping company for the materials not arriving and we lost contact with. On top of that, you were the leader of the team in charge.
No. It was my people who made the mistake in placing the order, and I didn't even notice.
You just admitted that you made a mistake. I never said anything about that.
Ah.
We were trying to put things right on the assumption that it was an ordering error because we suddenly lost contact with your company. We were going to confirm the details later, when we could get hold of them back again.
No.
Now you did say it was an ordering error. Also, from what you said on the phone, you, the person in charge, kept quiet about it.
Ah.
When you make a mistake, you don't apologize, you try to hide it, you don't try to develop actions to overcome or come up with an alternative, and you just leave everything to us. People who graduated from Tokyo University can't do their job at all.
Don't be ridiculous. I'm smart because I graduated from Tokyo University. I'm one of the few elites in Japan. Admit it.
Reacting to the word Tokyo University, she starts ranting alone. It seems that only a Tokyo University graduate must be her pride and support. At least in my eyes, you've never come across as smart. When I say that clearly.
No.
Finally, she drops to her knees with a thud. I'm the vice president of this company and have full authority over the Japanese branch of this project. We will cease all further business with your company from now on, and I will demand compensation for damages in this project.
Stop it. The top management hasn't found out yet. I'm your son's wife, right? Please let your company settle this matter.
In a complete change from earlier, the daughter-in-law begs. I thought we had already agreed to break off the relationship.
I'll take it back. And don't you feel sorry for Simon? For your son's sake.
That's not necessary.
What?
My son and husband came out of the Japanese-style room. Of course, they had heard everything from the beginning. She was stunned, not expecting even my son to be there.
Why the hell are you here?
I heard everything yesterday. I knew you were proud of your academic background, but I never thought you would look down on my mother just because she graduated from M University.
Well.
I'm sorry I've been coming home late every day, but I never imagined that you were making my mother do all the cleaning and laundry every day. You even said you had dinner at their house because you were so close. I can't be with someone who despises my parents so much.
Wait a minute.
May I have a word with you?
My husband, who had been quietly watching over her until now, approached his wife for the first time.
The only reason I kept quiet when you insulted my wife, who graduated from M University, was that you were the person my son chose. I thought I'd wait and see a bit more. But you haven't changed at all, and you've been lying to my son. Also, you tried to get through your mistakes at work by lying and covering them up. You, a Tokyo University graduate, may indeed be able to study, but you seem to lack something important as a person.
The husband's voice is calm but persuasive, like an admonition, and the wife can no longer speak.
My wife, whom you insulted, is much smarter than me, who graduated from M University. She has worked globally. But she has never boasted or looked down on anyone. She's important to me because she's like that, and I respect her.
Honey. I was moved by my husband's words without thinking, but now is not the time to be touched. I looked her straight in the eyes. I think this is what happens when you judge people based on their academic background. Of course, there are many people with excellent academic backgrounds and personalities. In the end, people who are considerate of others and can build trust are valuable. Both at work and at home. I don't know whether she heard me say this or not, she just stared at the floor in a daze. It's been about a month since then. The company where she works seems to be on the verge of bankruptcy. Apparently, after paying damages to our company, their reputation in the industry was ruined, and they stopped getting new work, and the company's performance has deteriorated drastically. Of course, the blame for this falls on her, who lied to both suppliers and the company and covered up the mistake. Because of her personality, I guess she was not well liked. I've heard that all the subordinates are talking about pressure from her in response to personnel interviews, and she, who caused significant damage, is being sued by the company. On the contrary, our company has gained further trust from clients and manufacturers, who say that we managed with desperate effort and saved the day, and new job offers are pouring in. Then, my son and daughter-in-law divorced. When the son tried to discuss the matter, the daughter-in-law agreed to the divorce without admitting her fault or apologizing.
I'm glad that I could be away from people like you guys.
She looked weak when she hurled a parting shot. She probably only cares about protecting her pride that she is a Tokyo University graduate and is great. How foolish it was for her to lose both her job and family because of that. My son, who was pushed by her to marry her.
I'm sorry. I was blind to things and it made you feel bad.
You don't have to apologize to me. You're still young and will meet even more attractive women in the future. I really want my son to be happy. Also, I'm glad that my husband said those words to her for me that day, and sometimes I secretly remember them. With my daughter-in-law gone, I'm back to my daily routine of cooking only meals for my husband and myself, and my heart is at peace. Should I make his favorite pork soup and fish today? I walk under the blue sky, thinking about it.